In the lonely heart of the Wild West, a rich cowboy finds a lost child on a dusty road, and his life changes forever. This story will touch your heart and keep you guessing till the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Tell me, where are you watching from? Let's get started. The wind cut across the plains like a whisper from the past, cold, sharp, and lonely. Dust drifted through the air, carrying the smell of dry sage and gunpowder from a town that had long since given up its fight with time. At the edge of that dying town, a man sat tall on a chestnut stallion, his shadow stretching long across the dirt road. His name was Cole Maddox, the Millionaire Cowboy, they called him now. Once, he had been just another drifter with a broken gun belt and a heart too tired to keep caring. Now, after years of blood, land, and gold, he owned more than any man west of the river. But all the money in the world hadn't bought him peace. The day started like any other, quiet, endless, empty. Until he saw her. A small figure, no taller than the saddle horn, sitting by the roadside near a dead cottonwood. Her hair was tangled with dust, her dress torn, and her little boots half buried in sand. At first, he thought she was a ghost, one of the many that haunted this land. But when she lifted her head, he saw eyes that were far too alive. Big, glassy, and scared. Cole pulled on the reins and slowed his horse. The girl flinched, clutching a ragged doll against her chest. She looked no older than 7. "Hey there, sweetheart," he said softly, his voice roughened by years of silence. "Where's your ma and pa?" She didn't answer. Just stared up at him with that hollow look that told him more than words ever could. Cole dismounted, his boots crunching on dry earth. He crouched down in front of her, his shadow falling over her small frame. "You out here all alone?" The girl's lips trembled. "They're gone," she whispered. "Gone?" She nodded. "They said they'd come back. But they didn't." Cole felt a chill that had nothing to do with the wind. Out here, gone usually meant dead. He glanced around, the plains stretched endless in every direction. No wagons. No camp. No footprints but hers. He knelt lower. "What's your name, darlin'?" "Lila." He gave a small nod. "All right, Lila. You hungry?" Her eyes flickered at the word, a faint spark of life. He pulled a small piece of jerky from his coat pocket and handed it to her. She hesitated, then took it quickly, as if afraid he'd change his mind. Cole stood up and looked toward the horizon. The sun was sinking fast, bleeding orange and red into the empty sky. Coyotes would be out soon. "You can't stay here," he said quietly. She didn't respond, just looked up at him again, clutching that doll tighter. Something twisted inside his chest. He hadn't felt that in a long time. He held out his hand. "Come on, Lila. I'll take you somewhere safe." Her small fingers hesitated. Then slipped into his. That's when he said it. Words that would change both their lives. "I'll be your father now," he murmured. For a long time, neither spoke. The horse snorted, the wind hummed low through the grass, and the world seemed to pause around them. Then Cole lifted her into the saddle and climbed up behind her. The trail stretched before them, dark and uncertain. But danger wasn't far. By the time they reached the next town, night had fallen thick and cold. The sign read Briar Creek, a place Cole knew too well. Years ago, he'd buried more than one secret in this dirt. As they rode through, faces peeked from behind shutters, whispers rising like smoke. "That's Maddox," someone hissed. "The rich one from Silver Bluff. Thought he didn't come back here no more." "Who's the kid?" Cole ignored them. He tied his horse outside the old inn and carried Lila inside. The barkeep looked up, startled. "Well, I'll be damned. If it ain't Cole Maddox himself." "Need a room," Cole said. "2 beds." And some warm stew. The barkeep eyed the girl. Ain't yours, is she? Cole's jaw tightened. She is now. That shut the man up fast. They ate in silence. Lila barely spoke a word, just kept glancing around like someone expecting trouble. Cole noticed the way her hands shook, the way she flinched at every door creak. He'd seen that before, in war, in orphan camps, in the eyes of people who'd lost everything. Later, when she finally drifted to sleep, Cole stepped outside, lit a cigarette, and leaned against the railing. The stars above seemed sharper tonight, crueler. That's when he heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, scraping against the wooden porch. A voice came from the shadows. Didn't think you'd ever show your face here again, Maddox. Cole didn't turn around. Guess you thought wrong. From the dark stepped a man in a long black coat, a revolver at his side. His face was older now, but Cole would have known him anywhere. Jake Rowan, the last man left from a past Cole had tried to bury. Jake's eyes flicked toward the window where the light glowed faintly. That your kid? She's not yours to worry about. Jake smirked. You always had a soft spot for strays. Guess some things don't change. Cole's fingers brushed his holster. Some things do. The air grew thick. The old boards creaked beneath their boots. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote howled. Jake's voice dropped low. You remember the ranch up north? The fire? The girl? Cole's heart froze. Don't. Jake grinned. Thought you might. You see, Maddox, you can't just buy yourself a new life. Some ghosts don't stay buried. Cole drew faster than thought. The gun flashed once, echoing down the silent street. Jake staggered back, hand to his chest, eyes wide with shock. Then he fell. Cole stood over him, smoke curling from the barrel. You were right, he said softly. Some ghosts don't stay buried. He turned back toward the inn, his mind racing. He didn't want Lila to see this, didn't want her to grow up knowing how darkness could cling to a man like a second skin. But when he opened the door, she was awake, standing there, clutching her doll, staring at him with wide, fearful eyes. Are you a bad man? She whispered. The question cut deeper than any bullet ever could. He knelt, lowering himself to her height. His hands were shaking. I was, he said quietly. But not anymore. Lila blinked, uncertain. Promise? He swallowed hard. Promise. From that night on, Cole kept his word. He left Briar Creek behind for good, bought a small ranch near the foothills, and tried to build something that wasn't soaked in blood. Days turned to weeks, weeks to years. Lila grew stronger, braver, happier. She'd run through the fields laughing, her hair flying in the wind, calling his name across the golden grass. But peace never lasts long out west. One evening, a rider came thundering up the hill, his horse foaming at the mouth. Cole stepped out onto the porch, rifle in hand. Mr. Maddox, the man shouted. You best come quick, there's men ridin' this way. They're a skin for you by name. Cole's stomach sank. He knew this day would come. The past never forgives easy. He turned to Lila, who stood by the door, her face pale but steady. Go inside, he said softly. She shook her head. I'm not leaving you. Do as I say, Lila. Tears welled in her eyes. Please, Papa. The word hit him like a thunderclap. Papa. She'd never called him that before. He smiled faintly. You keep that word safe for me, all right? Then he turned and walked into the gathering dusk. The riders came hard, 5 of them, faces hidden by dust and hate. Cole faced them from the hilltop, his silhouette outlined against the dying sun. The leader shouted, Cole Maddox. You killed Jake Rowan. You think you can just walk away? Cole chambered around. I ain't walkin' away no more. The night exploded with gunfire. The hills echoed with thunder and smoke. When the dust finally settled, only one horse galloped off into the distance. Hours later, the wind had gone quiet again. Lila ran down the hill, her heart hammering. She found him lying there, eyes half open, blood staining his shirt. He looked at her and tried to smile. Don't cry, sweetheart, he whispered. You remember what I told you? She nodded through tears. You said you'd be my father. He reached up weakly, brushing her cheek with his rough hand. And I meant it. His hand fell still. The dawn broke pink over the plains. The sound of birds returned. Lila sat beside him until the sun rose high, her small fingers wrapped around his, refusing to let go. Years later, folks would tell stories about the millionaire cowboy who gave up everything for a child he didn't know. Some said he found redemption. Others said he was just making peace with his ghosts. But for Lila, she never cared what they said. She grew up strong, wild, and kind, running that ranch like he'd always dreamed. And every evening, when the wind swept across the fields, she'd look toward the horizon and whisper softly. I kept your promise, Papa. I kept it. And sometimes, when the world was quiet enough, she swore she could still hear his voice carried on the wind, rough, warm, and proud. I know, darlin'. I know.